much, Pranesh. Good evening, viewers. You're watching India Upfront and I'm Swati Joshi. Today on Times Now, we unveil a nefarious terror design which was being engineered to target Prime Minister Modi's visit in Patna. Patna police, after receiving inputs about threat to the Prime Minister's rally, carried out raids and busted a potential terror module with alleged links to PFI. Mohammad Jalaluddin, Athar Parvez and one other were arrested by the police, but during the search of the premises, another anti-India plot planning to turn India into an Islamic state by 2047 was exposed as well. Arrest Mohammad Jalaluddin is a former Jharkhand police sub-inspector, whereas another individual, Athar Parvez, was a former member of Band Simi and now an active member of SDPI and PFI. Parvez has been instrumental in fetching bails for other Simi operatives. The duo are accused of facilitating and training rogue communal elements with weapons and then instigating them for communal violence. Let's take a look at this ground report.
कई लेटर हेड मिले हैं जिसमें देखिए आप सोशल डेमोक्रेटिक पार्टी ऑफ इंडिया एसडीपीआई का ये एकदम देखिए किस तरह से यहाँ पर फॉर्म जो है वो रखा गया है। कई ऐसे डिटेल जो है वो रखा गया है। ये टारगेटेड असेंबली है जहाँ जहाँ आप देखिए कटिहार अलग अलग जगह के लिए यहाँ पर 10 साल का प्लान है। ये 5 to 10 ईयर का जो है प्लान है। ये टारगेटेड असेंबली कहाँ कहाँ का क्या प्लान है। बिहार के हर जिले का नाम इसमें आप देख पा रहे हैं। अररिया है, कटिहार है, पूर्णिया है, किशनगंज है, सभी जगहों का नाम इसमें दिया गया है और टारगेटेड असेंबली है। 5 से 10 साल तक कैसे कैसे इन लोगों को ये करना है। उसके अलावा देखिए आप किस तरह से यहाँ पर एक एक जिले का नाम हर पेज में आपको यहाँ पर दिखेगा।
The suo motu FIR registered by Patna police reveals that the arrested accused have been giving arms and martial arts training to a group for the past 15 days at Patna's Ahmed Palace. Meetings were also held at the same location for the past 2 months to execute the conspiracy. However, later SSP Patna denied that it could not be established that the accused arrested were to specifically target Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
उस प्रकार का कोई स्पेसिफिक इनपुट नहीं है कि ये प्रधानमंत्री जी के दौरे को लेकर ये हो रहा था। ये काफ़ी देर से हम इसको फॉलो कर रहे थे, लेकिन जैसे कि मैंने आप लोगों को बताया है कि जब इस प्रकार की हाई प्रोफाइल विजिट्स होती हैं और माननीय प्रधानमंत्री की सुरक्षा को लेकर काफ़ी इनपुट्स आती हैं हम लोगों को, तो हम लोगों के जो भी सोशल मीडिया मॉनिटरिंग सेल्स होती हैं, स्थानीय इनपुट होती हैं, टेक्निकल इनपुट होती है, उसको हम सुदृढ़ करते हैं। उसी क्रम में हमको जानकारी प्राप्त हुई थी कि इस प्रकार के प्रशिक्षण शिविर ऑर्गेनाइज किया जा रहा है और उसी के क्रम में जब रेड किया गया तो हम लोगों को ऐसे डॉक्यूमेंट्स मिले जो कि भारत की संप्रभुता और अखंडता के विरुद्ध भी उसमें कुछ टिप्पणियां थी।
Well, the recent developments have sent ripples across intelligence agencies and NI has also been roped in to probe the matter. This is not the first time that Modi was on the radar. Earlier during 2013, there was a blast at the venue of Prime Minister's rally in Patna at Gandhi Maidan. The developments in Bihar have given rise to a political storm over alleged link of PFI with the accused.
हम एक सेकुलर स्टेट हैं और कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में परिभाषित है, लिहाजा कोई भी संगठन, कोई भी समूह इसकी ना डेमोग्राफी चेंज कर सकता है और ना संसद की शब्दावली कर सकता है। लेकिन कुछ अतिवादी संगठन देश में पुनः सक्रिय हुए हैं जो चिंता का विषय है। हमारी खुफिया एजेंसी उस पर नज़र रखे हुए है और हमें उम्मीद है कि ऐसे जो अतिवादी संगठन हैं उनको कमज़ोर करने में, समाप्त करने में हमारी सेना, हमारी पुलिस सक्षम है।
सर, क्या मामला है?
मामला है कि ये अहमद पैलेस है और अहमद पैलेस से 2 आदमी को उठा कर ले गए हैं। एक तो किराएदार है और किराएदार के बारे में हम नहीं जानते क्या गतिविधि में है, लेकिन मैं मकान मालिक के बारे में दावे के साथ कह सकता हूं कि ईमानदार पुलिस फोर्स पदाधिकारी रहे हैं।
बात बताइए, जो थानेदार साहब हैं जलालुद्दीन जी, उनके बारे में बात ये सामने आ रही है कि वो ट्रेनिंग देने का काम करते थे और वेपन्स की ट्रेनिंग दी गई है यहाँ मार्शल आर्ट।
बजाते देखिए पारदर्शी है, कितना ट्रेनिंग होगा नहीं होगी तो मैं नहीं, आप खुद देख लीजिए। जब ट्रेनिंग चलेगा तो यहाँ पर हजारों की भीड़ लगी रहेगी कि नहीं, बजाते साइलेंटली रहेगा। बल्कि मैं कह रहा हूँ कि उत्तर प्रदेश के तर्ज पर हलवाड़ी शरीफ को बदनाम करने की कोशिश की जा रही है। जलाल साहब अगर अपराधी हैं तो साक्ष्य प्रस्तुत करे, अन्यथा गोपाल रविदास यहाँ व्यापक जनता के लेकर रोड पर उतरेगा और चाहे लाठी चले गोली चले, हम उसकी पूरी तरह से शामिल हैं।
However, the PFI has alleged that it is a conspiracy to demonize the organization, which is democratic and law-abiding.
This happened yesterday. Yesterday, they arrested 2 people claiming them to be Popular Front members, but we would like to make it clear, and we have also issued a stand that both of them who have been arrested are not Popular Front members. Secondly, we saw that the police came up with one press release, a press statement. In that press conference, he read out a document calling something called as India 20, some plan to make India an Islamic country. Actually, if you see, the same document first came up in UP in 2020. If the same document attached in the charge sheet of UP and the same document is now coming to the UP police, that means the author of the document is not Popular Front. Popular Front did not publish that document, but that document is somewhere published by somewhere in UP or the higher ups, and it is being transmission to every other states.
All right, let's open this up and let's go across to our guests. We're joined by Dr. Anand Ranganathan, author. We also have on panel author R.S.N. Singh. Advocate Talha Amir Rashidi, spokesperson of the Rashtriya Ulema Council, joins us on the broadcast. We have Tehseen Poonawala, political analyst, and Syed Hassanul Haq, advocate and political analyst as well. Good evening to all of you. I first want to come to you, Advocate Rashidi. Once again, the PFI is under the scanner. And as the SSP of Patna said, they were going through various inputs. That's when they started following the case. 2 people were arrested and shocking documents were revealed. A 4-stage, step-by-step guide to establish Islamic rule in India by 2047, nefarious designs and plots to create unrest during the Prime Minister's rally. Why shouldn't an action be taken against this organization? Why shouldn't it be banned?
Ma'am, I'm not a spokesperson of PFI or SDPI, so I cannot defend them. And that would be defended by their spokesperson. But as a rational and an awake citizen of the country, I just want to put forward this point of view that when Bajrang Dal, VHP and other hundreds of such outfits demand a Hindu Rashtra, they openly organize a Khap Panchayats and rallies and yatras, and they demand Hindu Rashtra. No action is being taken against them. No FIRs are filed. No sensationalization of this media trial is being done of them. Then why only such a hue and cry is being created if some organizations are demanding Islamic nation? Although I, as an Indian citizen, I completely disagree with this. I condemn this because India would be ruled by its constitution. India is a democratic country, and we are citizens of this country, and we ought to follow the constitution, and we ought to keep the constitution as supreme. But this biased action, when RSS, when Bajrang Dal, when Hindu Yuva Wahini, when Hindu Parishad demands a Hindu nation, there is no hue and cry, there is no this sensationalization by the media. But when something comes out in the name of PFI and SDPI and other such Islamic organizations, there's all this, this crying and this shouting and this screaming all around. Why this, selective outrage?
Okay.
The outrage should be equal for everyone.
You're saying selective outrage. Tell me something, Advocate Rashidi. Are you okay with the fact that PFI today, in the document allegedly, says that we need to mobilize people, we need to unite Muslims under the flag of PFI, we need to remind them continuously of the atrocities committed, and if there are no grievances, we need to establish grievances there. We need to take help from other countries. It talks about funding from other countries. And the agenda is to establish Islamic State in 2047. Are you justifying that?
No, not at all. I condemn it. I condemn it in harshest of the words,
then
and
what
I
stops you from
demand
saying
an
that,
action.
yes, an action
But at the
needs to be
same
taken?
time, I demand equal action against the BHP, against the Bajrang Dal, against such outputs, and I would demand that you should raise the same question also.
Go ahead and demand equal action. I want to bring in GBL.
And let me add one more thing. The Patna SSP today also said that these people were training youths in the same way as the RSS runs its Chakha. Now the Patna SSP in himself says that he is comparing the PFI with RSS. So the action should be taken against both of them.
Mr.
The shakhas should be banned.
GVL Narasimha Rao.
If you are asking for action, there should be
GVL Narasimha Rao.
I think this is the same fake equivalence that we see coming from members of the Muslim community, always trying to really not address the real problem. India has always been a Hindu Rashtra, not by constitution, but India has been a Hindu-dominant nation. That's something that you cannot deny. So when somebody says Hindu Rashtra, we as a government don't subscribe to that view, but India, it doesn't shock people because India...
No, don't interrupt, sir, please.
What is the population of... If somebody says we want to make India a Muslim Islamic nation, it shocks people. It surprises them. Because what is the population of Muslims in this country? How can you make it a Muslim majority country by 2047 unless you butcher millions of Hindus, which is what some of your community members talk about. So therefore, you cannot draw this fake equivalence. Number one, we are a country that will be governed by constitution, and therefore when members of PFI or any such organization make such shocking charges, I expect Muslim community, members of the Muslim community, many of them educated and subscribe to the constitutionality, they should at least condemn them and not draw unwarranted fake equivalence.
Okay. Unwarranted fake equivalence, says GVL Narasimha Rao. Tehseen Poonawala, your comment, and as an individual part of the community, does that not anger you, outrage you, that there's a 4-stage step-by-step guide which says that we need to exploit Muslim community members, we need to acquire lands in areas that are Muslim dominated so that we can set up our own training facility, we need to identify individuals, we need to impart training. It talks about weapons training, handling of explosives.
Namaskar Swati, thank you so much for having me on the show. Namaskar to all my fellow panelists and to all your viewers. 2 or 3 things that I want to bring, but at the onset, let us wish Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji a very long life and a very healthy life. Like I said, we have to defeat him. We will defeat him, but that will be politically. Let's never wish ill for anybody. But here's my problem, and here's the crux of the issue, and this is what I firmly believe. The PFI works in tandem with the Bharatiya Janata Party and the RSS. It's a part of the organization, and please bear me out and hear me out, because every single time that the Bharatiya Janata Party is in trouble, for example, today the rupees crashed to 80 versus the dollar, you have a PFI story coming out, and the PFI is a very dangerous organization. I accept that. But why isn't this government of the Honorable Prime Minister and Honorable Home Minister, the 2 most powerful men allegedly in the world, banning this organization? In fact, the Home Minister of Karnataka from the BJP goes on to record and says, we have no plans to ban the PFI. At least ban SDPI accounts, at least go to Election Commission and stop SDPI from contesting elections.
Will all the political parties support the government if that decision were to be taken, Tehseen Poonawala, of a national ban?
Please.
Do you think all the political parties will come together, stand with the government and say, yes, ban this organization for its nefarious designs?
It doesn't matter. It's an executive decision to be taken. Whether somebody opposes or doesn't oppose, it's an executive decision to be taken.
Why it matters is because the Congress party has been accused of going soft on PFI.
Please may I make my point, because it's very important.
No, I'm just asking you a follow-up question. You're saying it does not matter because it's an executive decision.
But the Home Minister of
political parties in the past...
I accept it, but please.
Yes,
I'm answering your question,
your
ma'am. I'm answering your question.
Yes.
Ma'am, please allow me to answer. Yes. I accept your point with humility. I am saying the Congress is wrong, it's evil, the Congress should be thrown out, the Congress is irrelevant party, all the bad things for the Congress. But who's in power for the last 8 years? Is it the Congress or the BJP? In Karnataka, the Home Minister from the BJP says we don't want to ban PFI.
When it was
in
the Congress
Supreme
rule
Court,
in Karnataka,
they've said
cases
even look
were
at what
withdrawn.
can be done. That's been 3 months, times now is reported.
But when Congress party was in power
Ma'am, that
in
doesn't
Karnataka,
matter. I'm talking about right now. The Home Minister does not want to ban it.
So that's fine. So that's fine
but
if the cases were withdrawn back then.
But matter is now in Supreme Court, and the Attorney General representing the government. No, it's not. I am saying PFI should be banned.
Okay.
I am saying the BJP is hand in glove with them. Otherwise,
BJP is hand in gloves with them.
3 months ago in
So
Supreme Court, the matter has been
respond to that.
The
Why are
government
you not taking this decision of banning this organization on the national level? Because even the NI has said that this organization is a threat to national security. And Tehseen Poonawalla is saying that you are benefiting out of their, divisive agenda. They are in fact hand in gloves with your party, with BJP.
I think it's a very comical argument, I would say.
I have one more point to make to the MP. Please allow me to
I will come back to you. We'll have another round of arguments. I'll come back to you.
It's the charge.
Yes, no, but I have a very important point.
I'll come back to you,
That's the most important.
Some of the guests haven't even spoken yet. I'll come back to you.
The charge that has been made is completely baseless because it is the Congress party which has been in alliance with the PFI, the political arm of the PFI, the SDPI in Karnataka. They actually had seat adjustments with them in local body polls. They were actually, Siddaramaiah wanted to have a political alliance with them in Karnataka assembly polls. And the kind of violence that they unleashed, the action against the PFI has been taken by the BJP government. What did the Congress governments do? Be it in Karnataka or be it in Rajasthan or Maharashtra, where you were in power. Why did the Congress not act against them? The BJP government acted very firmly against the PFI in Uttar Pradesh, for instance.
But still no ban on the organization in terms of the demands that are coming in on a national level. If it is such a threat to national security, why isn't the government of India acting? That question remains. That question remains. Tehseen, I'll come back to you, please. I want to bring in Dr. Anand Ranganathan. Now, in this entire blame game of who's supporting whom, of who's going soft on PFI or on who's hand in gloves with PFI, I think we should not lose focus. The crux of the story is the document which has been accessed by the Bihar police when first 2 arrests were made. A 4-step guide of how the Islamic rule will be established by 2047 in India. And they've laid down rules for that. They've laid down procedures, guidelines for that as to how it is going to be done. They want maximum number of people to be associated with PFI, to be recruited with PFI. And if not, if that is not possible, they want at least people to read their views on social media, through magazines, through newsletters. They want mass mobilization. They want to impart them weapons training and also seek help from friendly Islamic countries.
Yeah, good evening, Swati, and good evening to all my fellow panelists. I've been waiting and listening very patiently for about 20 minutes now, so can I please request 2 minutes of uninterrupted time? Thank you very much. You are absolutely right, Swati. Look, the so-called PFI India Vision 2047 document is not so much a terror manual as it is a declaration of Islamic jihad against India. Let us be very plain about it. But the thing is, it doesn't surprise me. From Sir Syed to Iqbal to Jinnah to Jalaluddin now, we have to understand the psyche. Ambedkar understood it really well as he reiterated that as far as Islam is concerned, the world is divided into 2 regions, Dar al-Harb and Dar al-Islam. And the Muslims cannot rest until Dar al-Harb is converted into Dar al-Islam, unquote. A country which is ruled by a kafir, said Dr. Ambedkar, is Dar al-Harb to a Musliman. The basic feelings of deference and sympathy which predispose persons to obey the authority of government do not simply exist, unquote. These Islamists are out to prove Dr. Ambedkar right. There is documented proof, Swati, that the PFI is an organization neck deep in acts of terror, bomb making, training camps, political murders, links with Al-Qaeda and Islamic fundamentalism. It came into prominence after Simi was banned. Many PFI leaders are actually ex-Simi. This is not me saying it, but the Kerala police and the High Court. Let me give you just one example of PFI's criminal antecedents. On July 4, 2010, PFI activists chopped off the hand of a teacher named Joseph for allegedly framing a question paper that insulted Muhammad. The irony was the Joseph had meant not Prophet Muhammad, but Kunju Muhammad, the man on whose book he had framed his question. Joseph was sacked from his job. Joseph's wife committed suicide. In 2015, 13 PFI activists were convicted by the court for this crime. Hundreds of PFI leaders and activists have been charged under the UAPA, all under the Congress and the Communists. But the moment the BJP comes to power, the former start supporting such organizations, play the victim card. हम खतरे में हैं, चिराग बुझाने की कोशिश है, डरा हुआ मुसलमान, etc. And at the same time, support such organizations that want to break up India. Remember in January 2020, just 30 seconds, Bangalore police arrested 6 SDPI men for mere 10,000 each. They plotted to kill the young BJP MP Tejasvi Surya because of his pro-CA stand. They actually came to kill him at a rally, but couldn't. So nearly killed an RSS worker instead. But then again, just 10 seconds. More than the PFI, Swati, it is the government that needs to answer. As to why the Modi government hasn't banned PFI for 8 years is as deep a mystery as the Bermuda Triangle.
Very important point. 2 points that you made, and that raises 2 questions. One, to Syed Hassanul Haq, and the second one is to Mr. Rao. I'll come to you, Mr. Rao. I want to take a quick comment from Syed Hassanul Haq. How can any organization that talks about working for the rights of a particular community, in this case PFI, working for the rights of the minorities and upliftment of the minorities, in a document which the Bihar police says was accessed by individuals affiliated to PFI, talk about establishing grievances when there are none? Talks about taking support of 10% of Muslims, even if 10% of Muslims are with them, that's what the document says, they would be able to overthrow the coward majority. How can an organization that talks about upliftment of a community further push them into darkness and, give them weapons training, train them to handle explosives? Why would you want to ruin their futures?
First of all, I would like to thank now for inviting me. मुद्दे की बात ये है मैम कि आज MS झिल्लो SSP पटना ने कहा ये जो RSS की तरह जो RSS ट्रेनिंग देती है जिस तरीके से कराटे की, तलवारबाजी की, हथियार चलाने की, उसी तर्ज पे PFI ये ट्रेनिंग दे रही थी लोगों को। तो PFI के लोग जो अरेस्ट हुए वहां, जो लोग अरेस्ट हुए हैं उन पे एक सख्त कार्रवाई होनी चाहिए। PFI अगर इस तरीके की चीजें कर रहा है, ये पॉसिबल नहीं है कि 2047 में इस्लामिक कंट्री हो जाए, ये कभी क्लेम नहीं है। कोई इंडिया का मुसलमान इस तरीके की बातें नहीं करता। अगर ये PFI की तरफ से है, अगर PFI ऐसा कह रही है तो बैन होना चाहिए। और इसी मानसिकता के साथ RSS भी चल रही है। RSS को भी बैन करने की जरूरत है। दोनों इक्वली है, एक तरीके से एक बूट के दो दाल जिसको कहते हैं, वही काम हो रहा है यहाँ पे इस पे। आप ये कह रहे थे बीच में आनंद जी बैठे हुए थे, उन्होंने सर सैयद के बारे में कहा अपमानजनक भाषा। तो ये बताइए 1930 में किसने गोलमेज सम्मेलन का क्या बुलाया? बिना वजह की बातें ना क्या करे सर सैयद के बारे में। सर सैयद जो हिंदुस्तान के
इक्वेट करने में और कंपेयर करने में उन्होंने ये कहा कि आरएसएस जिस तरह से ट्रेन करता है उसी तर्ज पर पीएफआई भी ट्रेन कर रहा है। पीएफआई ट्रेन क्यों कर रहा है उसका एक मोटिव इस डॉक्यूमेंट में सामने आ रहा है, जिसमें वो ये कह रहे हैं कि हमको 2047 तक इस्लामिक राज्य की स्थापना करनी है, जिसके लिए हमको लोगों को आइडेंटिफाई करना है, जिसके लिए हमें उन्हें वेपन्स ट्रेनिंग देनी है। और एक और बात इसमें यह भी कहा गया है कि आरएसएस और हिंदू लीडर्स जो हैं उनके बारे में पर्सनल डिटेल्स हासिल कीजिए और उसका एक डेटाबेस बनाइए ताकि आगे चलकर उनकी एट्रोसिटीज के खिलाफ रिस्पॉन्ड करने में आपकी पूरी तैयारी रहेगी। तो अगर वो उसी की तरह चल रहा है, उसी की मानसिकता है, तो फिर आरएसएस का डेटाबेस क्यों जमा कर रहे हैं? दूसरी बात, आई वांट टू ब्रिंग इन RSN सिंह नाउ। RSN सिंह, एंड आई एम श्योर यू वुड से
आतंकवादी संगठन, एक आतंकवादी संगठन दूसरा आतंकवादी का
डिक्लेयर हो गया। आरएसएस डिक्लेयर हो गया आतंकवादी संगठन। आरएसएस को डिक्लेयर कर दिया गया है क्या आतंकवादी संगठन? नहीं, आतंकवादी संगठन डिक्लेयर हो गया। कोई टूल किट उनका भी अगर आ गया है सामने तो प्लीज उनका भी कोई टूल किट अगर आ गया है जहां आरएसएस कह रहा है कि लोगों को ट्रेनिंग दीजिए और हिंदू राष्ट्र बनाइए। इस डॉक्यूमेंट में ये कहा गया है, जरूर इस डॉक्यूमेंट में ये भी कहा गया है, मेक मुस्लिम्स बिलीव दैट RSS लेड गवर्नमेंट will drive them out of the country and will make India a Hindu राष्ट्र। Make Muslims believe। उनको आप ये मनवाइए, उनको बार बार याद दिलाइए कि आपके ऊपर कितने जुल्मों सितम हुए हैं। And I want to bring in RSN Singh because he is familiar with this pattern and RSN Singh will not be surprised when we talk about ghazwa-e-hind. This time around there's a document that the Bihar police has accessed in which it talks about the various steps in order to achieve that, RSN Singh।
नहीं, क्योंकि पहले वक्ता ने हिंदी में कहा था हमारी मातृभाषा में तो मैं थोड़ा हिंदी में शुरू करूंगा। और मैं इनसे, मेरी ये समझ है कि जब पाकिस्तान बना तो ये जितने कॉन्सेप्ट्स हैं, शरीयत, उम्मा, कैलिफेट, ग़ज़वा-ए-हिंद, जिहाद, ये सब पाकिस्तान का हिस्सा बन गए। आप संविधान की दुहाई दे रहे हैं, तो क्या संविधान ग़ज़वा-ए-हिंद परमिट करता है? क्या संविधान उम्मा के कंसेप्ट को परमिट करता है? बाकी जो ये जो ब्लास्फेमी के आजकल चल रही है, क्या संविधान वो परमिट करता है? जो चीन में हो रहा है उस पर भी टिप्पणी कर दें। और ये जो दो महानुभाव जो बैठे हुए हैं, मुझे यकीन है कि आज ये ज़रूर बोलेंगे कि ग़ज़वा-ए-हिंद एक बहुत बड़ा पाप लिखा हुआ है। ये कैलिफेट का जो है, कैलिफेट मूवमेंट, खिलाफत मूवमेंट से ही पाकिस्तान बना। और हम खिलाफत मूवमेंट,
आपकी बात सुन रहे थे,
हम खिलाफत की भर्त्सना करते हैं।
आपकी बात
और ये भी आप जरूर बोलेंगे कि दारुल हर्ब और दारुल इस्लाम की बात करना इस देश में हराम है। चौथी बात, आप कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन की दुहाई दे रहे हैं, तो मैं एक आप कह दीजिए कि हिंदुस्तान में जितनी मजहबें हैं वो सब सामान्य हैं और सब उतने ही इज्जत के हकदार हैं।
बिल्कुल,
सब उतने ही इज्जत के हकदार हैं। आप ये भी जरूर बोलिएगा कि ये काफिर शब्द जो है ये भी हमारे संविधान के अनुसार हराम है। ठीक है, तो ये 4-5 चीजें बोल दीजिए। दूसरी बात मैं ये बोलना चाहूंगा कि ये जो देवबंदी, ये जैश ए मोहम्मद साहब, ये कौन सा संगठन है? देवबंदी है ना? ये लश्कर तोयबा क्या है? अहले हदीस है ना? ये सर तन से जुदा तो बोलते हो, ये क्या है? बरेलवी है ना? ये सब का सब हिंदुस्तान में है ना सर? तो हम यहाँ से आइडियोलॉजी भेजते हैं और वहां से वो वेपनाइज, ये तीनों की आज आप भर्त्सना कीजिए और कहिए कि ये देवबंदी, बरेलवी और अहले हदीस
to both the guests, Mr. Rashidi and Mr. Haq, वो शुरुआत में कंडेम कर चुके हैं इस बात को।
हम हिंदुस्तानी
नहीं, इस बात को बोलना जरूरी नहीं, इस बात को बोलना जरूरी है, इस बात को बोलना जरूरी, जेंटलमैन 1 सेकंड, इस बात को बोलना जरूरी है कि एडवोकेट रशीदी और सैयद हक दोनों कह चुके हैं कि अगर पीएफआई का ये एजेंडा है तो ये गलत है। टू बी फेयर, ताकि शोरगुल में उनकी आवाज ना दब जाए, इसीलिए मैं इस बात को रिपीट कर रही हूँ। GVL Narasimha Rao, PFI has said that these are fabricated charges. This is only to malign the organization. Respond to that.
Is there anything to malign? This all matters. PFI's activities, the PFI's ideology, PFI's anti-India propaganda, anti-Hindu activities. These are all matters of public knowledge. So I think if only for the sake of record, if they are distancing themselves from it, it's only an attempt to mislead people.
Okay.
And our friend on the panel, Mr. Haq, was saying RSS training देती है तलवार चलाने में। कौन सा शाखा में गए भाई साहब? या पाकिस्तान में किसी शाखा में गए क्या?
कर्नाटक में अभी
कोई केवल सेल्फ डिफेंस के लिए
ओके, एक सेकंड, फैक्ट्स पर डिबेट को रखेंगे, किसकी क्या पर्सनल सोच है उसमें हम नहीं जाएंगे। ओके, तहसीन पूनावाला एंड देन आनंद रंगनाथन। तहसीन पूनावाला, गो अहेड।
No, don't mock. Thank you, Swati. I hope I'll not be interrupted just now. I want to make 2 or 3 very, very brief interjections. Point number 1, you are repeatedly referring to a note but in your remarks you called this an alleged note, and I take this note extremely seriously, like everybody of us on this panel take this extremely seriously. I'll tell you where the problem comes in these notes. The problem comes, and I've been on Times now for years, when a similar note came out alleging the assassination of our honorable Prime Minister, and do you know, and let your viewers know, that the NIA, which said that this note existed, withdrew this note in the NIA court. This is in the Bhima Koregaon. So for months we believed a note that was discussed, an alleged note, and then the NIA withdrew it, and therefore I'm saying the national security is not being taken seriously by the Prime Minister or the Home Minister, who perhaps have the spine of a molten eclair. Therefore they are not acting against PFI. I'm admitting to you every political party is bad, but Mr. Modi and Mr. Amit Shah, shining stars of our country, right? So why don't they ban it? That's the only question. Okay. Point number 2, Anand quoted Ambedkar, and he should. Ambedkar is somebody I look up to, but Ambedkar says in Pakistan or the partition, 1946, pages 354 to 355, if Sangh Raj does become a fact, it will no doubt be the greatest calamity for this country. Sangh Raj must be prevented at any cost. This is Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. The fact of the matter is, I repeat as I end, the Sangh and the PFI are two sides of the same coin. Rupee is 80 to the dollar, and these things have come out. Please ban the PFI.
You're saying we should be focusing on more important issues. The government
Please understand one thing. No Muslim wants this to be a Muslim majority country. No. No Muslim wants this to be a Muslim majority country. Every Muslim wants Modi to live a long life.
Okay, that is the right stand to take. No community, rather let's say no community wants this. No individual, no Indian wants this. But Dr. Anand Ranganathan, okay, but Dr. Anand Ranganathan, of course the agencies, the police in this case as well will have to prove this in the court of law. It is being called alleged because it is the police's case against the PFI, against the individuals who've been arrested. But like I said, one should not, at this point of time, take the attention away from the content of the alleged document that has come to the fore. And that should in fact be a warning for not just Hindu community or the government or the police or the security agencies, but for the Muslim community as well. Look at some organizations who are ready to exploit you.
No, absolutely, Swati. Please give me a minute and a half, because a lot of unfortunate comments have been made tonight, and I need to rebut at least 2 of them. Now, this gentleman, Mr. Haq, he was talking of Islamic State, and then he made an equivalence with the Hindu Rashtra. Islamic State is what the Kashmir Valley is currently and has been for the last 20-30 years. That is what Islamic State is. And let me tell you unequivocally that 2 of these... Now, can I not be interrupted, please?
No, please, you can.
This is what scares them.
Dr. Anand
This is why they are rattled. The moment I start rebutting them,
you are no one to define Islamic identity.
I cannot.
Will be interrupted.
I cannot continue like this.
Advocate
Because they have come here.
आप लोग जब बोल रहे थे तो उन्होंने आपको इंटरप्ट नहीं किया. उनको भी अपनी राय रखने दीजिए, please.
Just because I am a kafir.
No, let's not.
अरे भाई काफिरों से इतनी नफरत क्यों है?
नहीं, एक सेकंड. आप अपनी राय रख सकते हैं, एडवोकेट रशीद. जब आप बोल रहे थे किसी ने इंटरप्ट नहीं किया.
I've been waiting for 20 minutes.
उनको अपनी बात रखने दीजिए, please. I have to wrap up the debate as well. उनको अपनी बात रखने दीजिए, please. Yes.
So do I have an uninterrupted minute,
yes, go ahead,
Swati, or do I not? Thank you. What scares them, what rattles them is the truth, which was spoken almost a century ago by Dr. Ambedkar when he talked about Dar al-Harb and Dar al-Islam. And their hero Gilani, who they worship and eulogized when he passed away. These 2 panelists. Let me quote Gilani verbatim, and then you will understand what they mean by Islamic State, which is going on in Kashmir right now. I am quoting Gilani now. Quote, Kashmir must become an Islamic state. Our goal is the establishment of Islamic government. Our struggle is for the sake of Islam. Pakistan was created for the hegemony of Islam. Muslims are a qawm wholly separate from Hindus. I can go on and on and on. This is the kind of man these people worship. Okay. And second point, to my good friend Tehseen, when he says PFI and RSS are the 2 sides of the same coin. Can I ask him, when he says PFI must be banned, is he saying that RSS should also be banned and RSS is a terror organization? Then say it, Tehseen. Say it.
Okay, unfortunately, I don't have more time for this debate. I want to wrap it up right here. Irrespective of the political blame game that's happening, any right-thinking individual in this country today should look at the seriousness of the issue and should be able to identify elements who are only trying to sow seeds of hatred. Thank you very much, gentlemen. GVL Narasimha Rao, Tehseen Poonawalla and Dr.